Yo, what's up guys, my name's Hakiii and it's time to make a fat list of the best weaponized air vehicles in GTA Online. A lot of really good options to dominate the skies of Los Santos, so let's start off with the first one. The Akula helicopter is one of my favorite helicopters in the entire game, and it's got a lot of really cool weapons you can use. Along with the FH-1 Hunter, which a lot of people like to compare it to, these two are just the best helicopters there are. I decided to go with the Akula for this one. The first feature that's very useful for free roam is stealth mode. So if you press right on the D-pad, you'll see these doors close on the bottom and you'll see your icon on the map is flashing. That's how you know you're completely off the radar, and it's pretty much unlimited off the radar in stealth mode. The only downside with it is, as you can see on the top left, it doesn't actually let you use any weapons while in stealth mode, but that's still super useful considering you just press a button and you can be off the radar whenever you want for however long you want. Let me press right D-pad to go out of stealth mode, and now we can use the awesome weapons this helicopter has to offer. The machine gun is honestly not the greatest, but when it comes to homing missiles, the tracking is pretty freaking good on it. Holy crap, we literally just got 3 streetcars with 1 rocket. The homing missiles of course are great, but my favorite weapon on this thing, if we actually open the bay doors on the bottom of this thing, if you want to do that, hold right on the D-pad, then you'll see these doors open on the bottom. What that's going to allow you to do is to do carpet bombing. Now this is an absolute demon in free roam. Let me try and take out that police vehicle. So I'm gonna hold ARX on PlayStation, and that's gonna cause a massive explosion under us. Not exactly sure what the cooldown is, but the carpet bombing is so freaking good, both for taking out cops or other players or anything pretty much. I mean, look at that. If you want to use the homing missiles and the machine gun, you have to hold right D-pad again, and now we can actually use the homing missiles. Let's see how good the tracking is on this thing. Okay, that was a pretty easy hit right there. There's a helicopter on us. This helicopter is moving so much. Let's see if we can hit it. First try, boom. The homing missiles are definitely one of the more accurate ones in the game, because there's definitely some other vehicles that have terrible accuracy when it comes to the homing missile. Generally, it takes a few missiles to take this thing down, which is pretty solid for a helicopter. Helicopter armor standards are pretty low, so honestly, a few missiles is not bad at all. Let's move on to a vehicle that has some terrible homing missiles, but overall is a very convenient vehicle. That's going to be the Oppressor Mark II. Now, if we go into the endgame website, this is one of the most expensive vehicles in the entire game. Unlocking the trade price is going to get it down to $6 million, but the regular buy it now price is $8 million bucks, which is ridiculous because it used to cost about $3.8 million, but unfortunately Rockstar decided to raise the price of it. By the way, the Akula sits at about $3.3 million, which is not bad. The main reason I use this vehicle so much is because of how easy it is to fly around and how convenient it is for missions and just going around the map. Along with the price increase of this thing, Rockstar actually made the lock-on missiles very inaccurate. It's one of the most, if not the most inaccurate homing missiles we have on any vehicle, and it causes a situation of you most of the time actually wanting to use the lock-off missiles because you're more likely to hit the target if you actually know how to aim with this thing without the lock-on. Just to give you some examples, let's go ahead and try to blow up some police vehicles. That was a rare hit right there. Let me give you some more examples. So let's try to hit that helicopter right there. Complete miss by the Oppressor Mark II. I'm genuinely gonna try to hit this helicopter without blowing myself up. Let's try to hit it again. There you go. Okay, so after a few tries, we did get it. Chances are, if you're doing some PvP with certain air vehicles, you do not want to use the Oppressor Mark II. It's gonna miss the target so many times, it's not gonna be effective whatsoever. That's another miss right there. So if you're gonna use the Oppressor Mark II, I wouldn't really use it for PvP, but a bit more for grinding and just going around the map. The newest aircraft of the bunch is the Titan 250D. Now this is one of the most fun vehicles I've ever used in GTA Online. You can either use it completely solo or with a friend, being preferably the pilot of the plane, because then you can use all 3 weapons this thing has to offer. If you're piloting the plane yourself, you can only use 1 weapon out of the total of 3 possible. That's the 40mm cannon. Now all of these weapons are pretty much the same idea of just going in the gun camera and then blowing up things you see on the ground. Can I freaking hit that vehicle? Maybe it's too far away, but basically there's the 25, the 40, and the 105mm, all with different reload times, different ranges, and different damages and magazine sizes. Since we're solo, if we go in the gun camera, it's basically gonna put the plane in autopilot, so it's just gonna keep on going forward. Let's blow up some cars on the highway. That's 1 down. That literally is just 1 shot from this 40mm cannon ammo. As long as you get the hang of it, and it does take a little bit of getting used to just because we don't really have anything like these weapons. Undoubtedly undoubtedly one of the best air vehicles in the game is the F-160 Raiju. It's a lot of people's favorite, and for a good reason. I mean, there's a lot this jet can do. It's pretty much a big brother version of the Hydra. It's a much better Hydra, I would say. The very unique thing about it is you can switch between hover mode and plane mode. So if you wanted to act like a helicopter and kind of go vertically, you could do that. If you want to be able to use it like a jet, of course, you could just hold down on the left stick to go back into plane mode, we'll call it. It's a very nice feature, especially if you want to land in tighter spots. So with a jet flying horizontally, you would never be able to land safely just like this super easily. Very convenient feature right there. And like we saw with the Akula helicopter, it also has stealth mode, unlimited off the radar, and you'll know it by the icon flashing on the map. And exactly like the Akula, to switch stealth mode on and off, you would just press right on the D-pad, and now we can use the amazing weapon. Unfortunately, it doesn't have carpet bombing like the Akula helicopter, but of course it's got homing missiles with some great tracking on them. But my favorite weapon with this is the explosive machine gun. It might even be a little better than the carpet bombing. It's pretty much an explosive machine gun, as you can see right there. And with the Raiju, you have unlimited ammo, so you could just ongoingly spam. The fastest helicopter in the game is also one of the most convenient vehicles that a lot of people like to use in free roam. That's going to be the Sparrow. The awesome thing about it, you can spawn it literally anywhere, and it's going to spawn instantly right next to you. Just go in the interaction menu, service vehicles, Kosaka. The crazy thing about the Sparrow is it's actually much faster than a lot of planes in the game as well. Crazy to think about since it's just a helicopter, but it's a very speedy, lightweight helicopter with homing missiles, relatively accurate, much better than on the Oppressor Mark II. And Rockstar actually added a little bit of armor to this thing, so it takes a few missiles to blow it up. For a lot of missions and free roam events, this is the #1 vehicle you should be using. The only downside with it is you actually have to own the Kosaka submarine beforehand, so you would spend 2.2 million on the submarine, which is awesome because it's a great business itself. Plus, you get the super convenient vehicles to do the setup missions in it. After buying the Kosaka for 2.2, I believe the Sparrow upgrade is an extra 1.4 million, making it pretty expensive to own, but honestly, it's 100% worth it to own both the Kosaka and the Sparrow. A really different type of vehicle from most of the ones we're talking about in this one is going to be the Deluxo. It's a standard size car, but it does have the amazing feature of going into this like hover mode type thing that pretty much just lets you hover around. It works pretty similarly to the Oppressor Mark II, where you could just go up and down with it, and maneuvering is pretty easy, I would say. The only thing is it's a bit slower than the Oppressor Mark II, so overall I feel like flying with the Mark II Oppressor is much better. It's got a machine gun with it and some homing missiles, but the accuracy on the homing missiles are much better than the Mark II Oppressor. You do have to be careful because the armor on it is not the greatest, so if you blow a car up a little bit too close to you, then you might blow up yourself, so gotta be a little careful with this one. Also one of the most convenient vehicles we have in the game, but it being so slow in the air is kind of a drawback. If you're looking for a classic fighter jet in GTA Online, I would recommend the P996 Lazer. Of course, it's one of the fastest overall vehicles in this entire game. It doesn't have as many cool features like, for example, hover mode with the F-160 Raiju. The cannon works pretty similarly to the explosive machine gun on the Raiju. It can cause absolute chaos on the ground. You could blow up so many vehicles all at once. The homing missiles are of course there, but honestly the cannon is a bit more fun to use, and one of the more fun challenges you can do in the game is go very low and try to land the jet on top of Maze Bank Tower, something like this. So you would fly straight up, then kill the engine, and hopefully land on top of the tower just like that. Wow, first freaking try. Some other good options for fighter jets are also of course going to be in the Warstock website. The Lazer, $6.5 million, that's pretty overpriced. I would recommend the Raiju instead. By the way, the Deluxo is about 4.3 million. The B-11 Strike Force is another popular one for $3.8 million. And finally, the Pyro is a very lightweight aircraft that's also got some great weapons on it and is very fast. Don't recommend buying the Hydra since the Raiju is just better in every way possible. And now that you know the best air vehicles, click the video on screen now for the best mounted guns on vehicles. I hope you all enjoy that one, and peace.